Hi, ladies. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for all the love that you showed me on that biryani post. I really debated whether or not I should even post it after I was done because I get very, I don't know if self-conscious is the right word, but you always have that fear of somebody judging you and all of that. And it's very hard to put yourself out there sometimes. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the beautiful comments. And I had so many messages last night asking me questions and telling me that I've inspired them to try making it. And I was just overwhelmed by how much love you guys showed. So thank you. Thank you for that. So today I decided I would teach you how to make, I shouldn't even say teach you. I'm not a teacher. I'm just a girl who does her own thing and tries to make it the best I know how. And I don't mind sharing how I do it with all of you. So I just wanted to come on and show you how I teach you how I make my potato chop. Now, again, this is kind of like the biryani thing. Everybody has their own recipe, how they do the meat filling. Some people put raisins, some people put nut. I just make the meat filling straight up and I don't put raisins or nuts or anything like that in there. And I remember the very first time that I tried to make potato chop, and that's the word, tried, because I failed miserably, you guys. I had been trying to teach myself how to make it because I was obsessed with them. I loved them so much, and I got sick and tired of spending all that money because I think they charge like $1.50 for one. So I was like, I'm going to make my own. And I failed miserably. I failed hard. I remember that day I, thought I was doing great. I got them all made. I struggled a little bit, but I ended up with these beautiful little potato chop, and I went to put them in the oil, and you know what happened? They all disintegrated in the oil. I put them in the oil and they completely fell apart. It was a disaster. And I was so upset because I had spent so much time trying to get them right for them to just fall apart. So that same day, right after that, I was so mad. I was cleaning up everything and I started all over. And you know what a process this is. I started all over. I think I ended up making it 3 times that day until I finally had a perfect golden potato chop, and I've made them the same ever since. Now, the key with potato chop, I'm going to tell you, at least from my experience, you cannot overcook the potato. You want to cook the potato just until you can put a fork in it and pull it out easily. You don't want to make them too mushy, okay? Number 1. Number 2 is if you will let the potato get a little bit chilled in the fridge before you start to work with it, you're going to have a much easier time. And lastly, once you make the potato chop, put them back into the freezer and just let them chill out for a little bit. It'll work a lot better, okay? So this is what I'm starting with today. I don't think you guys can see me. Let me try to put this up. Hang on one second. All right, sorry about that. I realized you couldn't see my cutting board. All right, so I'm not gonna make a lot because I actually just made these about 3 days ago and they were all gone. Like I was making some to put in the freezer to save for a rainy day. That did not happen. I ended up cooking them all up and they were gone by the end of the night. So I'm just going to make a little batch just to kind of show you guys. I have 7 medium-sized potatoes right here. I just peeled them and I washed them and now they're completely dry. And I'm going to just show you what I do with the potatoes first, but this is some of the other stuff that I use when I make them. So for the potatoes, you're just going to, cut them in half, and then I always cut that half in half again, and then in 3s. So you have chunks like about that big, okay? Just something like that. And once you chop them all up, you're gonna put them in a pot with cold water and a little sprinkle of salt. And you're gonna boil the potato until you can put a fork in it and gently pull the fork out. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go chop up these because I'm sure you don't wanna stand here and watch me chop up 7 potatoes. I'm gonna do that and then I'll come back and show you what I do next, okay? All right, ladies, I've got the potatoes boiling in my favorite pot over there. So I just chopped them all up. I threw them in the pot, cold water until they're covered, a little sprinkle of salt, and now you just leave them there until you can put a fork in them and pull it out easily. You don't want to overcook them. I cannot stress that enough. So while they're boiling, I'm going to show you how I make my filling. And I'm just gonna adjust this camera just a little bit. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. I'm kind of having trouble getting the right angle so that you can see. But anyhow, all right. So now for the meat filling. I have some ground chuck here. This is 2 pounds of ground chuck. This is how I figure. Like when I'm making it, I might as well make extra meat or extra filling. If I run out of the potato outside before I run out of the meat, just freeze the rest of the meat and you can always use it for the next time you make potato chops. So I was thinking I would just make a pound, but I figure what the hell, I'll make 2 and then just save whatever I don't need. So 2 pounds of ground chuck. I have 1 whole white onion chopped up. I have, all right, me and my garlic thing. I have 6 cloves of garlic chopped up because garlic makes everything better. Remember that. And I have a good handful of parsley that's been washed and set aside. That's going to go in there. I have our favorite thing, some allspice. You definitely need the allspice. And I know everybody kind of does their filling probably different. It's kind of like a biryani thing where people, put in different things. I make it the same way every single time. I've never had a complaint. It might not be traditional Iraqi, but it works for me and it tastes good. So I'm going with it. So I'll use this allspice and I'm going to use some cumin, which I don't think most people probably put. I use about a teaspoon of cumin. I love cumin, so I put a little bit in there. Some garlic powder, salt and pepper. That's it, okay? So I'm going to turn on the burner and I'm going to throw in that ground chuck. And I'm going to start doing that. And the reason I didn't put the onion in, because normally you'd have to put some oil in that pan to let the onion get sauteed. I really don't want to, I'm trying to avoid that meat getting too oily, like the filling to become too oily. I don't want that. So I'm just going to put this in here and I'll throw the onion in a minute. I had to defrost this, so there's a little spot that isn't quite defrosted. Like I said, I just made this about 3 days ago and it was so good. And it's just like any other thing that you guys make. It's not hard, it's time consuming. And it is a little more difficult than some to kind of get down the pattern of what you need to do so that the potato chop stays whole and doesn't disintegrate in the oil. I cannot tell you a worse feeling than when you've spent all the time making it, you put it in, and it just falls apart. It's so frustrating. But it happens, okay? Not a big deal. You just have to keep trying until you get it right? Okay. So the meat, I'm just going to let it brown for a minute. Kind of move it around in there. And per usual, it's going to be a little bit of a longer video because everything is a process and takes so long to make. I try to make it as short as possible and have everything kind of prepped first to make it move along quicker. All right, I'm going to use some garlic powder. And of course, I don't measure. So it's going to be about a teaspoon. So I'm just going to sprinkle it into the meat. That's about a teaspoon, right? I should really try to start measuring because my kids are going to end up making it the same way I do, and no one's ever going to measure. Black pepper, and you don't want to do too much black pepper, maybe about a quarter, 1/4 teaspoon, because you don't want it too spicy. All right. And then, of course, I got a little tiny bit of salt left in there, and I'm just going to give it a good shake. Like I said, you can always add salt, but you can't take salt out of your recipe, so really take it easy on the salt. Taste your meat once it's cooked. If you feel like it needs a little bit more salt, go ahead and add more, but don't go crazy initially with the salt. Now I'm going to just stir that around, and I'm going to throw the onion in so that it can cook in the oil from the meat, right? And I don't have to add any extra oil. I cleaned my fryer this morning, so it's all ready to go. Put some fresh oil in there for the potato chop. There we go. And this, nobody taught me potato chop. I remember the first time I made it for my mother-in-law. For the record, I have the most amazing mother-in-law on the face of the earth, and you should all be jealous of me because she is I literally think if the woman asked me to kiss her feet, I would do it because she has loved me like her own daughter. I'm going to get emotional. She's just an amazing woman, and she's always been so supportive of me. And anyhow, I remember the first time I made it for her, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Shanu, it's better than mine. Yani, it's better than mine, Yani." I love her so much. But anyways, I loved having her approval. It made me feel so good. All right, so the onion went in. Sorry, I'm a very emotional person. You'll find that out. My friend Cindis, who added me to this group, knows that all too well. I love you, Cindis. Thank you for adding me to this group because you're all such cool women. Okay, so definitely want to just let that get nice and brown. And now I'm going to add in my big heaping thing of garlic. Whew. Sorry, I almost cried on you guys there. Not cool. Okay. And now I'm going to take my cumin and grab a little teaspoon, and I'm going to just do like that much, okay? Even less, like that, okay? That's the cumin. Sprinkle the cumin in. It just gives it a little extra flavor, I think. You don't have to do it. If you don't have it or you don't want to do it, skip it, but you definitely need the allspice, okay? So the allspice, you're definitely going to want at least a tablespoon of allspice, if not more. And I can usually tell if I need to add more by the smell, okay? I love the smell of allspice. All right, so there we go. I have a heaping tablespoon of the allspice, and I'm going to put it on in there. Okay. Now the only thing left to add to this is this parsley. I'm going to go chop up the parsley, and then I'm going to check the potatoes. I'm going to come back. I'll show you how the potatoes should look. If they're done, I'll come back on and I'll show you how it looks. And then I'm going to chop the parsley up and throw it in there. I'm going to let the meat cook. That's all you need for the filling. You're done with the filling. Add your parsley, let it cook, then you are done. Okay? So I'll be right back. Okay, ladies. I added the parsley to the meat, and it's cooking really good. These potatoes are done. I turn them off. See, like when I can put a fork into that potato and it slides right off, it's done. You do not want to overcook them, okay? In fact, I'm going to drain those right away. That's why I love this pot, because I don't have to get a strainer out. I can just drain it with these holes, okay? I'm just going to dump the water out of the potato right away. Because if you leave the water in, they're going to keep cooking, okay? They're going to keep cooking. I want to get as much of the water out as possible, okay? So let me turn off the heat. Potato is finito, okay? All right. Get a nice big bowl and dump your potatoes in the bowl. Get rid of that pot. So those are done. Now, since I put the parsley in, I cooked the meat, it's really done. The meat is all done to the filling. Now the key is going to be that you're going to have to let your potatoes cool, and you're going to have to let that meat filling cool all the way down before you try to assemble the potato chop. Because if you try now when it's even warm, it is going to fall apart on you. So don't do it, all right? So the thing that you're going to need is a potato masher. You can use a fork, but it's going to take you a while. So get one of your potato mashers and just mash up your potato. Now, some people put it in a food processor and they smooth out the potato. I never have done it, and I've never had, I've never had a problem. I just smash them really good with the potato masher until they're kind of fine and there's no big chunks in there. Okay? And you can see how hot this filling is. It has to cool down. It has to cool down because you're going to add some things to this potato that's going to help you get a beautiful, gorgeous, golden potato chop. All right. I'm going to keep mashing it. I was so emotional after that little episode there. I decided that I would have a little glass of wine. And it's 5 o'clock, so it's okay, right? I think. You're going to learn 2 things about me. 1, I absolutely love Tim Hortons coffee. Love it. Can never get enough of it. And 2, I'm a wino. I love dry red wine. I love it. And my favorite is when I get to share it with Robbie, like when we're home and the girls are in bed and it's finally like that time of night where you can just kind of relax and think about your day. My favorite time is to sit with Robbie and have a nice glass of red wine. So, all right. Just give that a stir real quick. Okay, so mash the potatoes. I hope that you're able to follow me. I kind of talk fast because I'm so worried about the video being too long. But everything that you guys make in this culture takes a minute to make. So I have no way around making it long. All right, so the potato kind of is looking like that. I can still chop it more, but for now, I'm just going to leave it and let it cool down. I'm going to put it on the side. Oh, you can see I made a corned beef today too in my slow cooker. And I use it for, whoa, I'm getting that all over. I use it for lunch meat for the girls, for sandwiches and stuff, or for Robbie. Let me put that back down. All right. And it's really good. I'll show you how to make that too. All right. So the potatoes are in the bowl, and I'm just going to leave them right there and let them cool. Once they cool down, I'll show you what you need to add. Now, you have some extra grease that's in this pot with the meat. I always drain it. Use a colander. I dump the meat in it and let it drain out. The holes in this are really small, so you won't lose your onion and your garlic and all that. But before I do it, I want to give it a little taste and make sure. I did go back in. I forgot to tell you guys. When I paused the film, I did go back in and add another tablespoon of allspice. So what I'm thinking is, for every pound of meat, 1 tablespoon of allspice. So I have 2 pounds of meat. I use 2 tablespoons of allspice, 1 teaspoon of cumin, salt, pepper, garlic powder, parsley, onion, and fresh garlic. Okay, so my filling kind of looks like that. Smells amazing. Really good flavor. I really like it. I could eat it out of the pan just like this. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to dump the meat in this colander and let all that oil drain out. And then I'll transfer the meat filling to a bowl, and I'm going to put it on the side with that potato and let it cool down. Okay, so I'll be right back. All right, my darlings, I am back. The potato is nice and cold. I had it I actually stuck it in the freezer, believe it or not, just to kind of speed up the process. You can do that if you want to, or you can just like leave it on the counter and let it cool off naturally, or you can just stick it in the fridge. The only reason I did it was so that I could film quicker, okay? I'm going to throw on a pair of gloves because I'm just weird like that. I have to have gloves on when I'm putting my hands in something. I think it's cleaner, and I just don't like to touch stuff like that. I don't know why. Anyways, all right, so here's the potato, and it has like a nice consistency to it. I can tell that it'll form nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few things to the mashed potatoes, okay? I'm going to add some pepper. Now the pepper is just based on your taste. I happen to like pepper. I don't go overboard because potato chop, I don't like it spicy or anything, but again, maybe like a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm just going to give it a few shakes, not even a 1/4 teaspoon, less, okay? I'm going to put in some salt, just one little shake like that, because the meat has salt in it. I put a little salt in the water when I was boiling these, so I don't want to go salt crazy. Now, think about when you would make like yesterday when I was making the meatballs for the biryani. I added breadcrumbs because I wanted to bind the meat together, right? So in this case, we're not going to use breadcrumbs. I'm going to use instant mashed potatoes. A lot of people will make it without this. I just find that it really helps bind your potato chop together, and it like won't fall apart on you, okay? So this is kind of an important step, at least in my opinion. Please don't crucify me for using these instant mashed potatoes, ladies, because it's just taking the place of like what breadcrumbs would do. And again, I don't really measure, so I'm gonna put in probably about maybe a little over a quarter cup to start with, and maybe I would even go as far as like a half a cup. But put that in there, and you're going to know more when you start to mold that potato chop together. You're going to know from the feeling of whether or not you need to add more of this, okay? I'm going to add 1 egg. Egg is also a binder. Egg helps hold things together when you cook them, okay? And 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. These should not fall apart on you, okay? I'm going to do 2 tablespoons, 1, 2, of cornstarch. That's it. And I'm going to mix all that together. And I'm going to know from the feeling of this whether or not I need to add anything else to it. Okay? And, once I'm done blending everything together, I'm going to just let it chill for a few more minutes. I'm going to put it back in the fridge because I really don't want to work with the dough if it gets warm, because then it's just going to fall apart on you. It's time consuming, right? It's not a quick recipe, but once you get it down, it's better than paying $1.50 per potato chop. I know when I first, before I knew how to make anything, and I loved kubba, and I loved potato chop, and I loved brick, and I would go and spend, like $100 on 3 bags of kubba. And I was like, that's crazy, like I can do this. So I just started really watching videos, and most of them were in Arabic or Chaldean, and I didn't understand. So I started just experimenting, or if I really didn't understand something, I would say, I'd ask my husband, what are they saying? Because my husband, he speaks Chaldean or Surith and Arabic. So, all right, I want to show you. So I kind of got it all over the floor too. All right, so that's kind of what it looks like mixed up. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to make a mock potato chop without putting the meat filling in, because I can tell, all right, I have like a ping pong ball size of the potato. Now, when I first made them, I made the outside too thick. You don't want to have too much because the outside will be too thick and it won't have that nice texture to it. So I made that golf ball or that ping pong size ball, and I'm just working it with my thumbs, going down the middle to see how it holds together. Okay, you see how that's kind of falling apart? I don't really like that too much. I think that's telling me that I have more potato and not enough moisture in there. So I'm going to add another egg. So let me get another egg. I'm sure there's some nanny out there crying in her hands like this that I'm doing it this way. But you guys, it works for me. And it tastes amazing. It tastes just like the ones I used to buy all the time at the store. So like I said, I know there's probably some of you out there who are watching me thinking, this girl is not doing it our way. We don't do it that way. But you know what I say about that? I say, just because something has been done a certain way doesn't mean, a certain way for so many years, doesn't mean that it's the right way or the most effective way or that there's not a better way. And I'm not saying, I'm definitely not saying that I know better than anybody else, but I'm just saying, it works for me. That's all. That's all I'm saying. All right, so I added the egg. I'm just going to kind of give it a little bit of a mash it up again. You want to make sure it's all stirred in there. I like the consistency, and It definitely needs to chill a little bit more. I can feel it warming up as I'm working with it. Now I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna add another shake of those instant potatoes. And that's it. That's all I'm adding to this. I'm done. All right. I can see why some people might use a food processor to kind of blend it together because it's less, maybe it goes quicker, but I like to be able to feel kind of what's going on. All right, I like this now. I can tell you right now that I'm liking this dough. Okay, here's, again, little size, golf ball size. All right. Oh yeah, see? And I can tell when I push it down in the center that it's gonna hold together. So when I put the meat filling in and then I go to make the potato chop, it's gonna hold together. And then I'm gonna stick them in the freezer and they're gonna be fine. So I'm gonna pause just for a minute. I'm gonna let it chill just for another few minutes before I start to do the filling, and I'll be right back, okay? All right, beauties. I let it chill a little bit longer. The meat is cold, and that's what you want. So I'm gonna do a little test run, and this is what I do every single time because I've learned the hard way. Like before I would make all the potato chop ready, and then I'd go to fry it, and if one fell apart, it's done because you're gonna have to throw them all away. You can't salvage them. So always make one first and see how it does in the fryer. Last time I made them, I did try to air fry them, and they browned really nice and everything, but it did not have the same taste to me. And I know it's so much healthier for you, but if I'm gonna have potato chop, really, if I'm gonna have potato chop, I'm gonna have me some potato chop, and it's gonna be fried, okay? I'm not playing games. All right, so just take a little ping pong ball size, and then I put my thumbs down in the middle, and I kind of pinch it, okay, like that, and go around. And you can tell it's holding together really nice. I can form that cup and it's not splitting or anything. And I'm gonna take a teaspoonful of meat. I always do just a skinch more, okay? Like that, do you see? And now I push down with my thumb. It took me a while to learn this. I push down with my thumb and push that potato together. Pinch it together, okay? And you wanna make sure you don't have any holes. I have the oil heating up, all right? There we go. And I'm just gonna press it down. And because I like to chill them before I fry them up, I'm gonna put, just because this is my test one, remember? I'm gonna test it to make sure it's not a disaster. Hey, things happen. I could have missed this step. I wanna make sure that I didn't screw it up before I try to do the whole batch. Okay, but this is sort of such a pretty little thing. Look at, okay? And it's about yay wide, right? And it looks perfect. Now, whether or not it's perfect, we're about to find out. I'm gonna let that oil heat up, and then I'm gonna show you how I fry it and see how it turns out, okay? I'll be right back. All right, ladies, it's the moment of truth, and I'm super nervous, and I get super nervous every single time I make them because I'm scared they're gonna fall apart every time. Even though I've not had that happen in a really long time, I still get nervous. So fingers crossed, it's the moment of truth. I put a little piece of the potato in the fryer to make sure the oil was nice and hot and it's golden brown, so that tells me the oil is ready. And it's a good sign because it's nice and firm, so that tells me that most likely we're gonna have success. So here we go. Oh, wouldn't that just be what would happen is I would try to teach you and it would fall apart while I'm filming. Okay, hold on. I put it back in the fridge just to cool, that one I showed you that I made. And now I'm gonna stick it in the fryer and we're gonna pray, ladies, that it stays together. Here we go. Here we go. All right, hold it on. That is really loud. And I think the condensation from the lid went down in oil, so it's kind of loud. It'll settle down. So it's in there, and I don't see any pieces of potato kind of floating around, which tells me that we might be lucky, okay? So while I'm waiting, I'm gonna nervous eat. I'm eating tushy. I made 2 big jars, and this was what I had left from my other ones. So good. Like, I'm addicted. I could eat it all day. It's really good. My sister loves it too. I'm just wasting time praying that these come out right. I can't tell yet until I take the lid off. I hope you're praying for me. All this work, it better not fall apart. Okay. I'm nervous. Okay. I don't want to keep peeking because I'm letting the heat out from the oil. So they take about, like, I don't know, like 3 minutes a piece when that oil's hot. Maybe a little, when you see like they're golden brown, just take them out. They're done. Because, you know, the meat's already cooked and stuff, so it's not like you're cooking through raw meat. I'm just going to peek. I'm just going to peek. Oh, you guys. It didn't fall apart. Did not fall apart. Can you guys see me okay? Let me raise it up a little bit. What's going on there? Okay. Sorry. Y'all know that I'm technologically challenged. Okay. I think you can see me better now. Just waiting. Just waiting. Almost done. This is kind of dead space here waiting for this, huh? We should talk about something, but I'm not really sure what we should talk about. What should I make next? I'm thinking that I'm going to make kubba. And like I said, with potato chop and all that, I just got tired of buying it. And there's some really incredible women out there that make it and sell it. And they're delicious, but they're expensive. So it motivated me to learn as much as I could. And I make really good kubba. And maybe that's what I'll do next, because it's so similar to like the shape and everything of potato chop. And it's not hard. It's a really simple recipe. Anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And I want to say, I got a message today from Reem, and she sent me the sweetest message. I just got it right before I did this part of the video. She made the biryani recipe, and she said she hasn't made it in a long time because the first time she made it, it didn't turn out well. And she followed the recipe I gave her, and she said it turned out amazing. And you have no idea how much that validated me and how good that made me feel, and how happy and proud I was of her for trying it again. Because you know what, you guys? You might try something and fail at it, but you really only fail if you never try again, right? So just because you make a mistake, just because something doesn't turn out perfectly, you know what? That's okay. Greatness comes from failing. That's how people become great. So don't let it discourage you. You know, I didn't know how to make this the first time. The first time it was a complete disaster, I told you. Oh my God, you guys. Okay, I'm so excited. Girls, wait till you see this gorgeous beauty. Oh, I feel like angels should be singing right now. Look at, do you see her? She is perfect. Let me cover up my oil so it stays nice and hot. Let me just show you. Look at that. She is gorgeous. Perfectly golden brown. Perfectly golden brown. Gorgeous. And should I cut into it so you guys can see? All right. Let me get a plate. Okay, here's a plate. There we go. Oh, you hear the crunch? Crunch. Okay. There it is, cut open. You can see the steam. There she is. Perfectly golden and beautiful potato chop. I want to take a bite so bad, but it is screaming hot. Hold on, I gotta take a bite. Oh my God. You guys, please try to make this. It is so delicious. It's not hard. See, I promise you. And once you learn how to do it, you'll make it all the time. You won't ever buy it again. I hope this video helps you guys. I'm going to go and make all of them, and I'll post a video, or I don't know what I'll do, maybe a picture or something of them all done. because I'm sure this is a long enough video. You don't need to stand here and watch me make 50 more of these things. That's it. That's potato chop. If you have any questions, you guys overwhelmed me with messages yesterday. I felt incredible. I felt like there was so much love from you people out there, and I cannot express again how much I appreciate that, and you watching it. I know it's a long video, so thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch me. So I love you guys, and try this and see what you think. I'm gonna go drink wine and eat potato chop. Bye. All right, you guys, I have the official taste testers here, and Ava and Sophie are gonna taste it and let you know what they think. They're my kids, so they better have something nice to say. Is it hot? Well,
Excellent.
excellent. Yeah, excellent. Kid approved. All right, I have 5 more done. Now I have 4. I've got a couple more in here. They're looking beautiful, guys. It's a wrap. So let me know what you think. Say bye, girls. Thanks for watching.
Bye. So good.
So good.